Hi, good morning, everyone. Beta, today we are going to go ahead and begin with the measures of location. Now, all of you would have heard about the measures of central tendency. In that case, what we are going to go ahead and do is within the measures of central tendency, we will study the measures of location and we will study the measures of variation. So, when I say location, what do I mean? By location, I actually mean that I want to go ahead and I want to talk about mean, median, and mode. And by variation, I mean that I want to talk about standard deviation and I want to talk about variance, right? I will also go ahead and take you through movements and curtices, and I will show you why that is also important. Okay. So to begin with, let us today begin with mean, median, mode. That's the first thing I want to do for the day. So, beta, what you should be doing is you should start by understanding what is central tendency. सबसे पहले ये समझो कि central tendency क्या होती है. See, a lot of times we have huge distributions of data, huge amount of data, and we cannot go ahead and we cannot, always talk about the entire data set. ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता ना कि जब भी आप मेरे से पूछो, okay, what are the marks of the students in your class? I start dictating. The first student scored this much, second this much, third this much, 10th this much. Now, that is very difficult. Similarly, it is very difficult to go ahead and to talk about, the income of every individual in the society. So a lot of times what we have to do is we have to condense huge amount of huge amount of uncondensed information into a condensed form of information. Hai na? And how do I condense the information? By finding out the average, by finding out the median, by finding out the mode. So the purpose of these measures is that there is huge amount of data set and I want to go ahead and I want to condense this data set in one number, right? So let us start by understanding this a bit. So please write down with me the purpose. I will give you some features also which are important of these measures is to condense huge, unwidely set of numerical data into single numerical value which represents entire data set. So I want to represent the entire data set by one representative value. Now, central tendency is used for a lot of purposes, right? So there are three main purposes of using central tendencies. The first purpose that you have is, as I mentioned, so its purpose. The first one is to describe distribution in concise manner. So if I want to go ahead and I want to write the entire distribution in one number, that is where it is going to help me. But suppose now I tell you that I have two sections of students and I want to go ahead and I want to compare these sections as to which section is performing well. What can I do? I can go ahead and I can do something which is known as a comparative study. So I can find out the average marks of the first section, the average marks of the second section, and then I can compare which section is performing well, right? So to compare different distributions also, the comparative, the central tendency becomes important. So second one is for comparative study of different distributions. Third, now just imagine, I not only want to go ahead and compare different distributions, I sometimes want to also understand more about the distribution. Like, for example, is it right skewed? Is it left skewed? What kind of distribution am I talking about? So for computing various other measures like skewness, like coefficient of variance. So you remember that in economics, we do something which is called risk. You know? Risk is basically understanding how risky a portfolio is. And to find the riskiness of a portfolio, you can clearly find covariance, coefficient of variance, right? So for computing other things also, like for example, to understand how skewed is my data set, for understanding the coefficient of variance, for all those purpose also, this is one thing that I need. So you can just say for computing other statistical measures. Like variance, skewness, etc. Now try and understand, you have to understand that beta, when I have to find the variance, उसके लिए भी मेरे को मीन की जरूरत तो पड़ेगी ही पड़ेगी, right? So central tendency will also become important when I have to go ahead and I have to find the variance or skewness. Even then in their formulas, I would need mean or I will need median, right? Now, there are some prerequisites that you should have for central tendency. So please write down requisites of a good central tendency. So in mean median mode, what should be the factors that I should be looking for? Or supposedly tomorrow you go ahead and you make your own central tendency. आप एक formula के साथ आ जाओ कि मैम मेरे को लगता है कि central tendency ये एक central tendency हो सकती है. What are things that I will be looking out for in a good central tendency? That is what we are going to discuss. So the first one that we should be looking out for, beta, that it should be rigidly defined. By saying that it should be rigidly defined, what do I mean? I mean that it should be very clear and unambiguous. मतलब ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि अगर आप मुझे बोलो मीन निकालो तो कभी मैं समेशन x by n कर रही हूँ और कभी मैं समेशन x by x कर रही हूँ. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. I should be very clear with what the definition is saying कि कैसे उसको define किया गया है, उसमें बहुत clarity होनी जरूरी है. So it should be rigidly defined. Any good central tendency. The second thing is that it should be easy to understand. So the formula should be such that it does not takes a lot of time to understand, a lot of time to calculate, and at the same time, when I interpret it, it should have some meaning. Just when I interpret mean, I know that it is talking about the average marks of students or average height of students or average income of the society. So I should be able to also interpret the central tendency. But the third one is that it should be based on all observations. This is a good property of central tendency. I will show you that among mean median mode, is this satisfied or not? But abhi ke liye important ye hai that it should be based on all observation. Ye important property hai. The fourth one, it should be suitable for further mathematical theory. So एक अच्छा सेंट्रल टेंडेंसी वो है जो आगे भी किसी पर्पस में काम आ पाए. जैसे सेंट्रल टेंडेंसी, once you know how to find the mean, you can use mean to go ahead and find the variance. Once you know how to find the mean, you can use mean while hypothesis testing. So a good central tendency is such which is suitable for further mathematical or statistical theory. Fifth, it should be affected as little as possible by fluctuation of sampling. इसका क्या मतलब है? मतलब जैसे जैसे मैं सैंपल को फ्लक्चुएट करूं, as I fluctuate the sample, it should not be the case that this just keeps fluctuating. So just imagine, suppose beta I have a data set and the last income, I'm finding average income, and one of the income was 100. All incomes were between 60 to 100. Okay. Now all of a sudden I changed the last income to 1000. So beta, when you will find the average, अब आप 100 की जगह 1000 add करोगे, your mean will be affected. So as you fluctuate your sample, the central tendency is getting affected. But what we are saying that as part of a good central tendency, your prerequisite is that it should be affected as little by sampling as possible. Okay, come to the sixth one. The sixth one is it should not be affected by extreme values. So beta, when I say it should not be affected by extreme values, मतलब extreme values को हम बोलते हैं outliers. So जो भी हमारी extreme values होती है, हमारे outliers होते हैं. Outlier मतलब जो data से बहुत अलग दिखते हैं. Like in one of the class I told you the dot method. और जब हम वो dot method बना रहे थे, तो I showed you that there can be some values to the extreme, है ना? तो उन outliers से हमारी central tendency affect नहीं होनी चाहिए. That's also another property that we have. We will talk about it. Yes, beta, you're right. That fifth, so any central tendency, जो भी हमारे, whatever central tendencies I will teach you, it is not going to follow all 6. Okay? So we have to compromise a bit. So that way you're correct that even mean will not follow all 6. I will show you which properties mean follows. But as long as they're following most of them, we are okay and we will go ahead with that particular central tendency. Depending on my purpose. Okay? So mean, median, mode का भी अपना purpose है. So depending on purpose, I will go ahead with that particular central tendency. Okay, beta. So now in measures of central tendency, I'm going to go ahead in this sequence. We will talk about mean. In mean, we will also talk about arithmetic mean, geometric mean, and harmonic mean. Then beta, we will talk about median. And at last, we will talk about mode. So this is what I want to go ahead and cover from central tendency. In today's class, let us begin with mean. Okay, beta. तो मीन बहुत ही सिंपल है. हम मीन में जब जनरली बात करते हैं तो हम एरिथमेटिक मीन की बात करते हैं, एएम की बात करते हैं. So beta, mean is pretty simple. What are you doing? You are adding all the observations together and dividing by the number of the observations. So if x1, x2 till xn are your observations, then you can define x bar or arithmetic mean as summation x by n, right? Now, a lot of times you will also be given some frequencies associated with the data. Just say, for example, what will happen? Like I will say that this is my x and this is my frequency. Just say, for example, let's say x is marks. So I can say that x1 marks are scored by F1 students. This I can say 10 marks are scored by 20 students. 12 marks are scored by 13 students, and so on. So I can be given some data of x's, and corresponding to that, I can be given some frequencies here, x1 till xn, and F1 till Fn. So beta, in this case, your arithmetic mean, this is going to be F1 x1 plus F2 x2 and so on till Fn xn upon F1 plus F2 till Fn. That is going to be your arithmetic mean. So that's the second formula that we have for mean. So the first one is if you're only given data set. So if you're only given data set, it is pretty simple. All of us are aware of it. So if I'm only given data set like 10, 12, 13, 14, and let's say 20, 25, 27, then beta mean is simple. Mean will be 10 plus 12 plus 13 plus 14 plus 20 plus 25 plus 27 divided by the number of observations. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That is mean. But if you are given frequency of each data point, then you will have F1 into X1 and divided by the total frequency that you will get from here, summation F. Now, suppose you're given continuous data. I will solve numericals in a while. Let's write down all the formulas. So let's say you're given continuous data. So in that case, what will happen? You're given some class intervals like lower class interval 1 to upper class interval 1, lower class interval 2 to upper, lower to upper, and so on till lower to upper. Lower and upper का क्या मतलब है? जैसे if I say 10 to 20, if I say 20 to 30, and so on. So beta, this becomes my lower and this becomes upper. This becomes lower and this becomes upper, and so on. And you're also given frequencies. So the frequency you're given is F1, F2, F3 till Fn. Now, in order to solve for the mean in the continuous data set, you have two methods. The first method is called the direct method. So what can we do in the direct method? In the direct method, you can step 1, find midpoint of interval. So you can just find a midpoint of the interval. Midpoint will be nothing but lower limit plus upper limit divided by 2. Now that midpoint will act as an X for you. And then you can just find the mean by doing X into F summed up by summation F. Right? Let's take an example. So suppose you're given a data set, beta. Let's again take marks here. So the marks given to you are 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, and 50 to 60, 60 to 70. These are the marks given to you. And you're given the number of students here. So the number of students given are 6, 5, 8, 15, 7, 6, and 3. So what did I tell you? What is the direct method? You will find the midpoint and call that as X. So beta, midpoint will be lower plus upper divided by 2. So 0 plus 10 is 10 divided by 2 is 5. So you will get 5, 15, 25, 35, 45, 55, and 65. This is your frequency. You will multiply frequency with X. So 5 into 6 will be 30. This will be 75. And keep doing this. This will be 200, 525, 315, 330, and 195. This will be F into X. Just add this together and you will get 1670. So simply your mean will be summation XF by summation F. And when you will do summation F, that means I'm adding this together. So I have got here 50. So this will be 1670 by 50, which will be 33.4 marks. So on an average, the students are scoring 33.4. ठीक है बेटा, ये आपका पहला मेथड हो गया, which is known as the direct method. But now the second method that you have, this is called as the step deviation method. So in the step deviation method, what you can do is you can go ahead and you can find mean by using the formula A plus F summation F into D by summation F. ठीक है? अब अच्छा इसको ना F मत लिखो, then it will be creating confusion for you. Let's write it as H. Now, beta D is the deviation, step deviation. And in order to find step deviation, you start by forming something which is known as assumed mean. So A, this is called as your assumed mean. So we assume some mean to begin with. And then we go ahead and we find deviation from each observation from the assumed mean. And then we divide it by the width of the class interval. So H is the width of class interval. Let us try to do the same question using step deviation, and then things will seem easier. So beta, I am taking the same data set that I have. And then we will use the step deviation method. Okay, so now in order to go ahead and use the step deviation method, as I told you, you have to start by first finding the midpoint only. So beta midpoint nikal do. Midpoint will be between 0 to 10, 5, 15, 25, 35, 45, 55 and 65. अब इसमें से एक को assumed mean मानना है. Assumed mean ऐसा रखो जो पूरे ये जो मेरा midpoint का data set है, it's in between. So you know I can take 35 as the assumed mean. There are 3 values above, 3 below. So it acts as an average. मतलब ऐसा लग रहा है कि most probably average 35 marks ही रहे होंगे. So I've taken the average as 35. This is assumed for now. Okay, beta. Then find out D. So what is deviation? X minus A divided by H. So X is 5 minus 35. So minus 30. And the size of the class interval beta is 10. And the gap between 0 to 10 is 10. So beta, this will be 5 minus 35 divided by 10. That means minus 3. ऐसे ही if you solve, you will get minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2 and 3. You can solve this. यहाँ पे भी देख लो. So ये क्या होगा यहाँ पर? This is 65 minus 35, which is 30, divided by the class interval, which is 10. So you will get 3. So now beta, once we have gone ahead and done that, just find F into D, frequency into this deviation. So minus 3 into 6 is going to give me minus 18, then minus 10, minus 8, 0, 7, 12 and 9. And when you will add this together, you will get minus 8. So this is how I have gone ahead and found out F into D. ठीक है जी. अब formula में लगा दो. So beta, what is my mean? Mean is A plus H summation FD by summation F. So I had assumed my mean to be 35. The width of the class interval, ये H जो है, this is 10. Summation F into D I found out as minus 8. And the sum of the frequency is 50. So when you solve this, you will get exactly the same answer as 33.4. यही same आएगा जो यहाँ पे है ना 33.4. You will get exactly that as your answer. ठीक है? So both methods can be used to find the mean value. Okay, beta, let's take some questions related to mean. So quickly we will do these questions. So write down the number. Beta, stats, if you do these questions that I give you in my assignments, then these are so intensive. I try and cover each type of question. You should be in a good position. So the numbers have frequency, and the frequency is given as x, x plus 2, x minus 3, and x plus 6. The arithmetic mean is given to you as 4.876. You have to find the value of x. Okay, beta, let's start. So what is given to you? You are given the marks of the student, and the marks are given to you as 3.2, 5.8, 7.9, and 4.5. You are given the frequency, and the frequency is given as x, x plus 2, x minus 3, and x plus 6. So beta, mean already given hai. Mean is given as 4.876. So what will be your f into x? 3.2 into x, 5.8 into x plus 2. Keep finding this. 7.9 into x minus 3. 4.5 into x plus 6. So when you add this together, add kar lo, you will get 21.4x plus 14.9. So understand that summation fx is this. And summation f kya hoga? So x plus x plus x plus x, 4x. 6 plus 2, 8, minus 3, 5. So 4x plus 5. So summation of frequency is 4x plus 5. Summation of fx is this. So beta, mean kya hai? Arithmetic mean. It is summation fx by summation x. And this is given to you as 4.876. Just equate kar do isko. So equate this to 21.4x plus 14.9 upon 4x plus 5. This is simple. You just have to find the value of x. So kuch bhi nahi hai. I will leave this up to you, beta. So just do 4.786, 4x plus 5. Can you quickly calculate this and tell me, please? I will also multiply this and check. Quickly, because this is decimals, quickly calculate this. 4.876 into 4. 19.504x plus into 5. 24.38 is equal to 24.1x plus 14.9. Anyone who has done this already? Minus 19.504. 1.896x. So 9.48 divided by 1.896. So I'm getting the x as 5. So your x value will be 5, right? So very simple. Sometimes they will simply give you the AM and they will ask you to find the value of x. Okay, beta, come to the next question. So please write down. It says, from the following data set, you should go ahead and you should calculate arithmetic mean. It is given to you that the total number of person in highest group is 435 and none is earning less than 20. So it says that nobody is earning less than 20. The total number of people in the highest group is 435. तो एक बारी समझ लेते हैं क्या डेटा सेट गिवन है. So बेटा, you're given the income and you're given the number of person. The income given to you is in this format: below 30, below 40, below 50, below 60, below 70, and then you're given below 80, and 80 and above. And you're given number of people: 16, 36, 61, 76, 87, 95, and 5. It is asking you to find out the mean. बेटा अब इस केस में क्या है कि मेरे को कोई इंटरवल तो दिया नहीं है. So I have to convert this into a class interval. Only then I will be able to solve this. So try and understand this. Below 30 means, okay, I don't know whether it is 0 to 30 or whether it is going to be 20 to 30. But because it is given below 30, and then each subsequent interval is below 40, मतलब 30 to 40 रहा होगा, 40 to 50 रहा होगा. So for solving purpose, I can take the class interval starting from 20. So I can say that this will be 20 to 30. Similarly, it says above 80. So beta, again above 80 में I don't know कि कितना रहा होगा, but because each gap stands for 10, for solving purpose I can take it between 80 to 90. So what can I do? So this will be 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, and so on. ऐसे करके आप इन intervals को redefine कर सकते हो. Now look at the second thing. Beta, this says that below 30 there are 16 people. So no problem. My CF will be 16. But now it says below 40 there are 36 people. So ye dekho beta. Below 40 there are 36 people, out of which below 30 there are 16 people. तो बेटा 40 से 30 से 40 के बीच में कितने लोग हो गए? 36 minus 16, right? Below 40 you're given 36, and below 30 you're given 16. So between 30 to 40 you will have the gap between the two, 36 minus 16 people. So this is exactly what you will have to follow here. So below 40 minus below 30 will give you between 30 to 40. ऐसे ही बाकियों को निकाल लो. Below 50 61 है और below 40 36 है. तो 40 से 50 के बीच में कितने हो जाएंगे? It will be 61 minus 36, that will be 25. And keep doing this. So 76 minus 61, and then you will have 87 minus 76, and 95 minus 87. This will happen. And now it says above 80 you have 5 people. So okay, no problem. I will write 5. So this is how you can go ahead and formulate the frequency. Now beta, now finding the mean is easy. So you can find the midpoint. 20 से 30 के बीच का midpoint will be 25, then 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, and 85. ये आपके midpoints हो जाएंगे. And once you have found out these midpoints, then I'm leaving it again. You can just solve this. Just find f into x. So 25 into 16 will be 400. 30 into 20, as we can see, is 700. You can just fill up this entire information. Okay. Achha, when you will do 85 into 5, na, you will get 435. And that is exactly what this was saying, na, that it is given that the total number of people in the highest group is 435 and none is earning less than 20. Actually, this meant this only, that the actually total number, total income. I've written it in the wrong way. Total income of the people in the highest group, that is 435. So that is meeting exactly this. Right? So we also satisfy what they have mentioned there. Right? So again, you can just add this together and you will get 4800. So beta, your mean will be, just add this also together, and this will come out as 100. So mean will be 4800 divided by 100. That means it will be 48. That will be the mean. Okay, write down the next question now. So write down that an investor, please do these questions with me only. He buys 1200 worth of shares, right? And during the first 5 months, he bought the shares worth 10, 12, 15, 20, and 24. After 5 months, what is the average price paid for shares? So beta, I'm just comparing. So the question said that the total income of people in the highest group is 435. Highest group is this group, na? People who are earning between 80 to 90. If there are 5 people and each of them has an, the midpoint is 85. So this comes as 435. I'm just checking that this is the same number that was given to me in the question. So it is verified that we are going in the right direction, that the midpoint is in fact 85. Varna, because it said 80 and above, I could have taken this interval from 80 to 100 also. If I would have taken this between 80 to 100, तो यहाँ पे 90 हो जाता, यहाँ पे 435 नहीं बन पाता फिर. So I am assured that the interval, last interval that I have taken of 10 is in fact correct. Because they didn't say that the last interval should be of 10. They just said that this is 80 and above. So this number verifies what is given in the question. Clear? Okay. So now, beta, ये देखो ध्यान से समझना, हाँ, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. ये यहाँ पे लिख लो each month. So an investor buys 1200 worth of shares each month. During the first 5 months, he bought shares 10, 12, 15, 20, and 24. This is the price. After 5 months, what is the average price paid for the share? Now, a lot of times, what students do is that they're just going to add these together. So, kya karte hai na? So, for example, they will do 10 plus 12 plus 15 plus 20 plus 24 and divide this by 5. Ye, kyunki it seems very easy, huh? But ऐसा नहीं करना है. This is not what the question is saying. The question has given you the price. यहाँ पे worth भी लिख लो. This is worth. Because I frame it in my language, sometimes, you have to understand this. So here, beta, you just don't have to add these 5 numbers and divide it by 5. No, that is not what it's saying. It is saying that every month you are buying 1200 worth of shares. Total जो खरीद रहे हो ना, cost जो लगा रहे हो वो 1200 है. और share का जो price था वो 10, 12, 15, 20 और 24 था इन 5 महीनों के अंदर. तो आपने एवरेज प्राइस क्या पे किया? तो ध्यान से देखते हैं सॉल्यूशन. सो बेटा मंथ मैं यहां लिख रही हूं, एंड देन आई एम राइटिंग फर्स्ट मंथ, सेकंड मंथ, थर्ड मंथ, फोर्थ मंथ एंड फिफ्थ मंथ. द प्राइस पर शेयर दैट यू आर पेइंग, हर शेयर के लिए पहले महीने में आपने 10 पे किया, फिर 12, दिस इज व्हाट इट सेज, देन 15, देन 20 एंड देन 24. बट जो आपकी टोटल कॉस्ट थी, टोटल कॉस्ट, तो बेटा ये जो टोटल कॉस्ट है ये कंसिस्टेंट है कि आपने हमेशा 1200 ही स्पेंड किया है. You have always spent 1200. This is consistent. So can you tell me what will be the number of the shares? Bhai, I have spent 1200 and each share costed me 10. So beta, the number of shares I would have bought will be 1200 divided by 10 means 120. Then 1200 divided by 12, 1200 divided by 15, 1200 divided by 20, and 1200 divided by this. So the total number of shares you would have bought would have been the summation of these. That means 410. So the total value that I have spent beta is 6,000. 6,000 रुपए खर्च किए ना इन 5 महीनों में. And total shares I have bought is 410. So average price per share will be 6,000 divided by 410. That means 14.63. Many students over the years I have seen will simply add these 5 values and divide them by 5. No. That is not what you have to do. First, find out now that I have purchased 410 shares. And only then you will be able to go ahead and give the average price of the share. Okay, ji. Take the next question, beta. So now I'm doing one on missing frequency. So please write down, find the missing frequency and I'm not considering price as X. You could have considered price as X and done also, but it's the same thing only. So अगर मैं price को X लेती, if I would have taken this as X and this as frequency, so I would have done what? Summation XF by summation F. But summation XF ही तो 6,000 ये हो रहा है. So this is X, this is F, this is 1200, this is also 1200, this is also 1200. So if I add that, यही वो ये XF ही तो है. This is already given to me, right? So it's the same thing. Okay. So now you have to go ahead and you have to calculate the missing frequency, and you are given that the mean of the distribution, that is 1.46. This is given to you. So you're given the data set beta that the number of accidents and the number of days are given. So accidents ka data set is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And days are given to you as 46. This is missing 23, 10, and 2 data sets are missing, sorry. So this is also missing and this is also missing, 23, 10, 5, and the sum is given to you as 200. So you need to find these missing frequencies. So let's say beta that I name these missing frequencies as A and B. So what is the formula of mean? Mean is summation F into X by summation F. Now when I go ahead and I find a summation, ये मेरा frequency है, ये मेरा X है. So when I go ahead and I do X into F, what will I get? 46 into 0 is 0. A into 1 is A. This will become 2B. 23 into 3 will be, let's go 25 lena hai, sorry. 25 into 3 will be 75. 10 into 4 will be 40. This will be 25. So summation XF will come down as beta how much? 65 plus 75, which means 140, plus A plus 2B. So how do you find mean? Mean is summation XF, matlab A plus 2B plus 140 upon summation F. So summation F is coming down as 200. So divided by 200. And your mean is given to you as 1.46. So I can just equate this to 1.46. So when I do this, I am going to get A plus 2B plus 140 and 1.46 into 200 kar lo. So you will get 292. So A plus 2B, this will be 292 minus 140. So this will be beta 152. So this becomes your first equation, that A plus 2B will be 152. Now find out the second equation. What is the second equation? The second equation is that the sum of the frequencies is given to you as 200. So beta, this means that 46 plus A plus B plus 25 plus 10 plus 5 is given to me as 200. Just solve this. So when you solve this, you will get A plus B will be coming as 114. ऐसे आ जाएगा. So you have got two equations. This is the first equation and this is the second equation. Two equation, two variable, solve them simultaneously. So from the second equation, I will put it back in the first equation. So beta यहाँ से A आ जाएगा 114 minus B. So 114 minus B plus 2B is equal to 152. So you will get 114 plus B is equal to 152. So B will be 152 minus 114. So B will come down as 38 and A will come as 76. So you are able to go ahead and find the missing frequency. Okay, so now I am going to give you one question. Please try that as homework, and it is also based on missing frequency. So please write down beta. So you're given a class interval, and the class interval is 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60. You're given two distributions. So for distribution 1, you're given the frequency as 20, 15, 10, X and Y. And for distribution 2 also, you're given the frequency as 4, 8, 4, 2X and Y. Right? You're given that for distribution 1, the mean, that is beta 25.4. And for distribution 2, the mean is 32.5. So find X and Y. I'm giving you the answer also, and I want you to go ahead and verify it. So you will get X as 3 and Y as 2. Just verify this. Okay. Okay, so one last type of question that I want to discuss in mean. So please write down the next question. So you're given that the mean salary paid to 1,000 employees is given to you as 180.40. And after disbursement of salary, you're given that the salary was wrongly entered. Wrong. Huh? So it tells you that there were two values that were wrong. So two incorrect values, which were 297 and 165, right? And the correct salaries that should be there was 197 and 185. So find the correct mean. So again, beta, I have done all possible questions. ऐसे ही करेंगे. Whichever topic I will pick up, चाहे वो probability हो, distributions हो, hypothesis testing हो, I will do one question of each type before I give you an assignment, right? So the commonly asked questions from mean, they are one where you have incorrect value, उसको correct करना, ये वाला question आता है. One kind of question that you get that is on the missing value. One kind of question that you get that is on your open intervals like this. And one kind of question that you get is on the finding the frequencies. So only these kind of questions are the questions that can come from mean. Okay, beta. So let us go ahead and find the correct mean. So mean is given to you as 180.40. What is the formula of mean? The formula of mean is summation x by summation n. Summation ki zarurat nahi hai. You can just write n. And this is given to you as 180.40. So summation x by 1000. Beta, this is 180.40. So summation x will become 180,400. That means this is the sum of the 100 incomes that you have. Now, from this sum, I must remove the incorrect values. वो गलत था तो उनको हटाना पड़ेगा, उनको add नहीं करना है. And I must add the new correct entries. So we can say that the correct sum, this will be 180,400 minus incorrect entries plus beta correct entries. So when I do this, what will happen? It will be 180,400 minus जो भी incorrect entries थी and add back the correct entries. So when you do that, you will get 180,320. Now just find the correct mean. So correct mean will be correct summation divided by the number of people. So it will give you 180.32. So the correct mean will now be 180.32. I hope this is clear to you. Achha, now let us go back to the table, to the features that we had written. So if you just go back, beta, the features that I have written, these are the 6 features that I had about the prerequisite of the central tendency. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to check as to for which values this is being satisfied. Is it being satisfied for mean or not? That is what I want to go ahead and I want to check. Let me just take this below. And we will check this for everything. I will check this for median also. I will check this for mode also. That is what we want to do. Okay. So let's start with the first one. Rigidly defined. So is mean rigidly defined? Yes. We could see that there is a fixed formula for mean, summation x by n. So it has a fixed, clear, unambiguous formula, and therefore it is rigidly defined. Is it easy to understand? Yes. This is a very simple formula. You don't have to do tons and tons of things. So this is very easy to understand. Is it based on all the observations? Yes. I took into consideration each and every observation. I am doing summation x. So it is based on all the observations. Is it suitable for further mathematical theory? Yes. It is used to calculate it is used to calculate variance. And it is otherwise also very useful, right? To find out how even if I have to find out the covariance, or I have to find out the correlations. In a lot of places, averages play an important role. So yes. Then it says it should be affected as little as possible by the fluctuation of the sampling, right? And it says it should be affected, not be affected by the extreme values. तो बेटा ये जो दो चीजें हैं, यहाँ पर मेरा आंसर आ जाता है no. A lot of times, the moment I will change the data set, my mean will be quickly affected. है ना? So for example, here, when I took the first data set, कोई भी एक data set ले लो. Suppose यहाँ पर, if I go ahead and ये जो last वाला मेरा marks था, if instead of 60 to 70, I take the last point as maybe 120 to 150. So if I change the midpoint from 65 to let's say 125, ऐसा कुछ कर देते हैं, mean will immediately be affected. So the movement you change your data set, mean is quickly affected. So mean satisfies few of the features of the, of the properties of central deviation, but some of the features are not satisfied by mean also. So from here, you must note down all the demerits of mean. So beta, first, हम already कर चुके हैं, but let's quickly write them down. First, it is affected by extreme values. So when I say it is affected by extreme values, let's take an example. Let's say that you have a company whose, I have taken the average salary as 10,000 per month. Okay. Now, in this average salary, what I had done is the salaries were like this: 8,000, 11,000, 9,000, 12,000. ऐसा कुछ करके मैंने इनका average निकाला था, and on an average I was getting 10,000 per month divided by 4. But now what happened is that within the salaries, I had to include the salary of a very big positioned CEO, and his salary was 1 lakh. The moment I will add this salary, my mean will go ahead and become very high. But still, these 4 people are earning around 10,000 only. But the mean will become very high. So what will happen is that the mean will give distorted picture. It will give me wrong picture. It will show me as if everybody is earning well. But everybody is not earning well. Because of one person, the money of everybody is looking high, although it is not high. That's the first issue with the mean. But the second issue with mean that we have is that it cannot be used in open classes. So for example, if I go ahead and I say, suppose if I say less than 3, and then I give you some classes, 3 to 4, 4 to 7, 7 to 9, kuch classes de do main. And then I say more than 9. So but I cannot find mean if I have these open classes. In that question also, I converted those open classes into closed classes. But directly, I cannot find mean for the open classes. Third, mean cannot be used for qualitative data set. So I cannot use mean to find out things like intelligence, honesty, any qualitative data set. I want to point out here, even though I haven't done median with you yet, but I want to point out that it can be used for the purpose of median. Median mein, I can go ahead and I can use it for qualitative data set also. Okay. Just for example, a lot of times you will listen people saying the median IQ, or you will listen people saying the median air quality or the median intelligence. Median can be used for qualitative information, but mean cannot be used. You cannot say on an average people are this much honest. Either they are honest or dishonest. You cannot find average honesty. So mean cannot be used for qualitative data set. Then fourth, mean cannot be used if single observation is missing. So even if a single observation is missing, like for example, if there are, let's say, I have a date, I have 100 students in my class. And now I tell you that 99 ke score I have, but ek ka marks nahi hai mere paas. I don't have the marks of one student. Can you find mean of 100? No, you cannot. Can you find median? I can still try. I can find median, but I cannot find mean. So even if a single data set is missing, mode nikalna to bahut aasan hai. I can still find the highest, the frequency of the, which mark says the highest, what's the mode. But I cannot find the mean in case even if a single observation is missing. Sixth, beta. Mean leads to wrong conclusions a lot of times. So when I say wrong conclusions, what do I mean? I mean that imagine that I give you a data set like this. I tell you that these are the marks, and this is student A, and this is student B. And I tell you, this is first test, second test, third test. And I give you that the student scored 55%, he scored 65%, 60%, 60%. He scored 65% and he scored, let's say, 55%. And both of the students on an average have 60% marks. But this may lead to wrong conclusions if you don't know the data it came from. So mean can lead to wrong conclusions unless you know the data. You know the data माने क्या? बेटा हमें नहीं पता ना कि क्या इन दोनों स्टूडेंट्स के जो फर्स्ट, सेकंड और थर्ड टेस्ट थे वो सेम थे भी या नहीं. Maybe for student A, the first test was English. And for student B, the first test was maths. So I cannot just say that on an average, both the students are the same, or on an average, both have scored 60%. Unless I know the data that they have come from. Maybe the difficulty test of the two tests were very different for the two students. So we cannot just simply say that if the average is the same, the students are the same, right? Seventh. But a mean cannot be determined by inspection or cannot be located graphically. What does this mean? It means that beta, if I make a histogram, then I can clearly check कि किस चीज की value, किसकी frequency सबसे highest है, and that will be my mode. So just by looking graphically, I can tell you my mode. Just by looking at the data, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, I can tell you what the mid value is. The third value is the mid value. So by looking at the data, just by inspecting the data, I can tell you the median. So there are your central tendencies, which you can solve only by inspection or only graphically. But for finding the mean, I cannot use these two techniques. I have to find out through the entire formula, and only then I can tell you what my mean will be. So finding mean is not very easy through inspection or graphical methods. It can only be done through the formula. Okay, so beta, with this, I cover the topic of mean. Now tomorrow I will try and I will finish off with median and mode. Any doubt that anyone has? Okay, thank you.